Bob Seger's life is often remembered for his powerful voice and timeless rock songs, but his journey to success was not simple at all. Behind the fame, there is a long story of struggle, emotional pain, and constant effort to keep moving forward. His music feels real because it comes from real experiences, not just imagination. From a young age, he was shaped by situations that forced him to grow up faster than most children. Bob Seger was born in Detroit, Michigan, in a working-class family. His early home life was not peaceful or stable. His parents often argued, and these arguments created a tense environment in the house. As a young child, Bob did not experience the kind of calm and comfort that most kids enjoy. Instead, he became quiet and observant, always paying attention to what was happening around him. This early emotional pressure had a strong impact on his personality and later influenced the emotional depth of his music. As he grew older, music became his escape from the problems at home. He found comfort in listening to artists like Elvis Presley and Little Richard. Their songs gave him energy and freedom, something he could not feel in his real life. Music slowly turned into more than just entertainment for him. It became a way to deal with his emotions and express feelings he could not speak out loud. This connection to music became the foundation of his future career. One of the most painful moments in his childhood came when he was just 10 years old. His father suddenly left the family and moved away, leaving Bob, his brother, and their mother behind. This event changed his life deeply. It was not only the loss of a parent, but also the loss of emotional security. His mother was forced to take full responsibility for the family, working hard to support them alone. Life became more difficult, both emotionally and financially. During this time, Bob learned important but painful life lessons. He saw his mother struggle every day, trying to keep the family together. These experiences made him stronger in some ways, but they also left emotional scars that stayed with him for many years. He later admitted that his father leaving affected how he viewed trust, relationships, and responsibility. These feelings would quietly influence many of his songs later in life. Even during these difficult years, music continued to grow inside him. As a teenager, he began writing songs to express what he was feeling. He could not always explain his emotions in words, so he used music instead. His early songwriting showed signs of deep emotion and honesty, even at a young age. It was clear that music was not just a hobby for him. It was something he truly depended on. Despite the hardships, Bob Seger continued moving forward, slowly building his path in the music world. He joined local bands and performed wherever he could, trying to gain attention and experience. The journey was not easy, and success did not come quickly. But every performance, every small stage, and every setback added to his growth as an artist. This early struggle period would later become an important part of the emotional power behind his songs. As Bob Seger entered his teenage and early adult years, his dream of becoming a successful musician became stronger, but the path ahead was still full of difficulties. He did not have instant success or easy support. Instead, he had to work through small local bands, low-paying shows, and constant rejection. Every step forward required patience and a strong belief in his music. Even when results were disappointing, he performed in different local groups, trying to find his place in the music world. These early bands did not bring fame, but they gave him experience and helped him understand how the music industry worked. Many of the shows he played were small, sometimes in bars or small venues where very few people paid attention. Still, he continued performing because he believed that every performance mattered, no matter how small the audience was. During this period, Bob also faced another challenge that many artists experience: lack of recognition. Some of his early recordings did not even give him proper credit. In a few cases, his work was released under different names, meaning he did not receive the recognition he deserved. This was frustrating and painful, especially for someone who was putting so much effort into building a future in music. Even though these setbacks could have made him give up, Bob Seger continued pushing forward. He kept writing songs and improving his skills. He learned from every mistake and every failure. Instead of stopping, he used these struggles as motivation to work harder. This strong mindset helped him survive in an industry where many talented people quit too early. At one point, One of his songs was played on the radio, but only once before disappearing completely. For many artists, this would feel like a failure, but for Bob, it was still a sign that his music was reaching people, even if only briefly. These small moments of success kept him going during a very uncertain time in his career. During his early journey, he also met other musicians who would later become important figures in the music world. One of them was Glenn Frey, who also shared similar dreams of success. These early connections helped create a sense of shared struggle and motivation. They were all trying to make it in a competitive industry where success was never guaranteed. Despite all the effort, real success still did not come quickly. Years passed, and Bob Seger remained mostly unknown outside his local area. He played countless shows, traveled constantly, and worked extremely hard, but fame was still out of reach. This long period of struggle tested his patience and commitment, but he never completely gave up on music. There were also moments when he questioned his path. Like many struggling artists, he briefly considered stepping away from music and trying a different direction. However, he could not stay away for long. Music had become too important in his life, and he eventually returned to it with even more determination than before. This long struggle period shaped Bob Seger into a stronger and more focused artist. Every rejection, every small stage, and every uncertain moment added to his emotional depth. These experiences later became the foundation of the powerful and relatable music that would finally bring him success. After years of struggle, small shows, and constant uncertainty, Bob Seger finally began moving closer to real success. This stage of his life did not happen suddenly. It was the result of many years of hard work, patience, and refusing to give up even when progress felt slow. Slowly, more people started noticing his music, and his name began to spread beyond local audiences. A major turning point came when he focused more seriously on songwriting and lead vocals. Instead of trying to do everything at once, he began shaping his identity as a singer and storyteller. This decision helped him create a clearer musical direction. His songs started to feel more personal, emotional, and relatable, which made them connect better with listeners. During this time, Bob Seger also formed the Silver Bullet Band. This group of musicians shared his vision and worked closely with him to build a stronger sound. They were not an overnight success story. Like Bob, they worked hard, traveled constantly, and performed in many different places, from small bars to larger venues. Life on the road was exhausting, but it helped them grow tighter as a group. The constant touring schedule was both a blessing and a challenge. On one hand, it gave them more experience and exposure. On the other hand, it was physically and emotionally draining. They often had little rest, long travel hours, and unpredictable living conditions. However, these real-life struggles later became inspiration for many of Bob Seger's most famous songs about life, travel, and loneliness. As the band continued to work hard, Bob Seger's music slowly began reaching a wider audience. His style stood out because it felt honest and grounded. He was not trying to sound artificial or overly polished. Instead, he sang about real emotions and real experiences, which made his music feel more genuine to everyday listeners. The breakthrough moment finally came with the release of the album Night Moves. After years of effort, this album brought him the recognition he had been working toward for so long. It became a major success and introduced Bob Seger to a much larger audience across the country. For the first time, he was no longer just a local musician. He was becoming a national name. However, success did not remove all of his struggles. Even after achieving fame, Bob Seger faced new pressures. The music industry came with high expectations, and he felt the need to constantly deliver strong work. This pressure created stress, especially when trying to follow up on a successful album. Instead of relaxing, he often spent long hours in the studio trying to maintain his quality and reputation. Even though fame brought success, it also brought emotional challenges. The lifestyle of constant touring and recording made personal stability more difficult. Still, this period marked a major shift in his life. From struggling musician to recognized artist, Bob Seger had finally reached a level of success that many dream of but few achieve. After Night Moves turned Bob Seger into a well-known name, his life changed in ways he had worked toward for many years. However, The change was not as simple or peaceful as it may look from the outside. Success brought new problems along with new opportunities. Instead of solving all his struggles, fame added a different kind of pressure that stayed with him for a long time. As his popularity grew, Bob Seger found himself in a demanding music industry where expectations were very high. Every new song or album was expected to match or exceed his previous success. This pressure created stress and made the creative process more difficult. Instead of simply enjoying music, he often felt the weight of responsibility to meet public expectations. At the same time, his personal life also became more complicated. Being a touring musician meant spending long periods away from home. Constant travel, performances, and studio work left little time for building stable relationships. Like many artists in similar situations, this lifestyle made it hard to maintain long-term personal balance. Over the years, Bob Seger experienced relationship challenges and changes in his family life. The constant movement and busy schedule created distance between him and the people closest to him. Even though he cared deeply about relationships, the demands of his career often made it difficult to fully maintain them in a stable way. During this period, he also began reflecting more on his past. The absence of his father during childhood and the struggles he saw his mother go through continued to influence his thinking. These early experiences shaped how he viewed responsibility, family, and emotional connection. They also appeared in the themes of his music, which often focused on real-life emotions and personal reflection. One of the most talked-about regrets in his career involved songwriting credits. There were moments where he made decisions that he later looked back on with disappointment. One well-known example was his connection to the song Old Time Rock and Roll, which became extremely successful. However, he did not receive full credit in a way that would have brought him significant long-term financial benefit. He later considered this one of his biggest professional regrets. Even with these regrets, Bob Seger continued to create music that connected deeply with audiences. His songs were not just commercial products, they reflected real emotions, memories, and life experiences. This honesty is one of the main reasons his music remained popular over time, even as trends in the music industry changed. Despite fame and success, stress and emotional pressure remained part of his life. Many people assume that reaching the top solves all problems, but Bob Seger's story shows that success often comes with its own hidden challenges. Fame did not remove his struggles, it simply changed their form. Still, through all of this, he continued moving forward. His dedication to music remained strong, even during difficult periods. Whether dealing with pressure, regret, or personal challenges, he stayed connected to his work and kept producing music that reflected his journey. As Bob Seger moved further into his career, his priorities slowly began to change. Even though he had reached major success in the music world, he started to realize that fame and money were not the only things that mattered in life. His focus gradually shifted toward family, personal peace, and long-term emotional balance. One of the most important influences on this change was his mother. As she grew older and became seriously ill, Bob Seger made a decision that surprised many people in the music industry. At a time when his career was still strong, he chose to step back from constant touring and public appearances so he could take care of her. This decision showed a different side of him, one that valued family over fame. In 1988, he reduced his professional activities significantly to be closer to his mother. Many artists might have continued working at full speed during such a successful period, but Bob Seger chose a different path. He believed that being present for his family was more important than staying constantly in the spotlight. This choice marked a major emotional turning point in his life. After his mother passed away in 1989, he continued to reflect on life more deeply. The experience of caring for her and witnessing her illness had a lasting emotional impact on him. It also reinforced the idea that time with loved ones is limited and cannot be replaced once it is gone. Following this period, Bob Seger began focusing more on his personal life and less on non-stop touring. He eventually found stability in his family life, marrying and building a more grounded home environment. Unlike the fast-paced lifestyle of earlier years, this phase of his life was calmer and more private. He also made a conscious effort to be more present for his children. Instead of being constantly on the road, He spent time at home and even took part in simple family activities, such as coaching and supporting his kids. This was a major change compared to his earlier years as a touring musician. These decisions were deeply connected to his own childhood experiences. Having grown up with a father who left the family, Bob Seger did not want to repeat that pattern. He understood the emotional impact of absence, and he made sure to be present in ways his own father had not been. Over time, this quieter lifestyle gave him a sense of balance that had been missing during his peak fame years. Even though he was no longer constantly in the spotlight, he seemed more at peace with his life choices. For him, success was no longer just about fame, it was about living with meaning and stability. After stepping back from constant touring and focusing more on family life, Bob Seger eventually made his way back into music, but in a more controlled and balanced way than before. He was no longer chasing non-stop fame or pressure from the industry. Instead, he returned on his own terms, when he felt ready and inspired. When he did come back, fans were still strongly connected to his music. Even after time away from the spotlight, his songs had not lost their impact. Many people who grew up listening to him continued to support his work, and new listeners also discovered his music through older albums and radio play. This showed that his influence had not faded. Even during his quieter years, his later albums and performances proved that his voice